last year you were approving the budget. This year you're making the budget.
Right.
Tell us what the difference in that process.
You know, the biggest lesson that I've learned being on this side of the budget is just how much stress, if you would, that council can put on the departments when we were looking at ways to be able to cut the budget. So one of the things that we did this time is we went earnestly in and we made sure that any adjustments that we were making to the budget were qualified and quantified, so that council wouldn't have to go through the level of removal, if you would, on the budget. I can tell you as a former council representative, I learned a big lesson. And one of those lessons that I learned is that for the pursuit of showing that we were fiscally responsible, we were also causing departments to have to work on thin margins, which could also have a negative impact on the work that needs to be done within the city. So this year, we've made sure that we've made wise investments, but we're also asking for the things that we need so that we can properly do our work in the city.
Sounded like, from what was said, improvement to the police department, the fire department, the streets, the sidewalks, and Headwaters Park. The promenade area down there. That's pretty much what we've done the last few years, right?
You know, and that's what government does. We make sure that we're improving the quality of life. One of the number one ways that we improve quality of life is through public safety. Our budget reflects about roughly 70% of all of our dollars going into public safety. But what that also means is that we're doing all the other things on 30% of our budget. And so when we talk about improving street qualities, when we talk about improving parks and recreational area, we're handling that on 30% of the budget. And so Comptroller Gary Moore has been very wise and a great steward with those resources that have been entrusted to us. So we're always making sure that we look at how we can keep our community safe and then how we can improve the quality of life with the remaining balance.
$47 million for neighborhoods alone and the improvements in that. Just kind of speak to the importance of Fort Wayne's individual neighborhoods and how that helps the city, and something you're very big on is quality of life. How come each individual one is a cohesive part?
You know, we walk our community and we walk all of our neighborhoods, and the one thing that we know for sure is every quadrant of our community has its own identity. And so when we talk about investing in communities, one of the number one ways that we're investing this year and in this budget is by making sure we expand our neighborhood department so that we can have additional individuals that are out in the community hearing what each neighborhood needs, working on the plans, and then being able to help put funding aside for those plans to be activated. So when we talk about growing Fort Wayne, increasing the quality of life for all residents, we're talking about strategically planning on being in neighborhoods and making sure that we're hearing from those residents, and that's what you'll see in the budget.
Yeah, and also just talking about the funding for the police department, expanding technology to investigate violent crimes. What does that look like on your end? What is maybe some of that technology, and why is there the need for that?
Again, I mentioned that 70% of our budget goes into public safety, and I'm proud of the fact that our police officers have a clearance rate of 81% for all of the crimes that have happened here in our community. And so being able to invest into making sure that we are keeping our city safe is very important, and it means a lot to us because you don't get 81% clearance rate by not investing into the technology and to the services and into the manpower that's needed to make sure we're keeping our community safe.
And does any of that, as far as you know, this is just the beginning of kind of releasing the budget, but will any of that go into possibly restoring the 10-point coalition as far as the budget goes?
You know, we provided a solution to 10-Point Coalition, which meant that we offered them the opportunity to bring in the men and women that walked in the Oxford Street neighborhood in as part-time, grant-funded, donation-funded individuals, which means that that doesn't have a strain on our budget. So in terms of 10-Point Coalition, it's a net zero impact to the city. And so once we hear back from the steering committee on how they would like to move forward, then we'll explore explore that opportunity. But I do want to reiterate that the grant-funded ability to bring those members in would not have an impact on our budget.
There's been a lot of road construction going on lately. What type of improvements can residents expect to see in our roads and sidewalks in the future? Do you have any plan for that?
You know, we're always investing in our streets, right? We want to make sure that we have safe, passable trailways and streets within our community. So we're constantly investing dollars into our streets and roads. Every single year we increase the budget there so that we can do more investment. But one of the things that we also need to be aware of is that even though if we put every dollar that we had into streets and sidewalks, manpower still continues to be a challenge. We work with as many contractors that we can in the community, but we still have to slow down and take awareness to the fact that we have capacity challenges when it comes to improving our sidewalks and our streets. But we consistently know that sound quality infrastructure in neighborhoods is what make them grow and help keep them safe.
And how do you plan on keeping Fort Wayne being the fastest growing city in the Midwest for the future, considering the budget?
Say that one more time,
How do you
sir.
plan on keeping Fort Wayne being the fastest growing city in the Midwest in the future?
We just keep on working. We keep on telling our story. We keep inviting communities to come and spend time in Fort Wayne, play, work, and worship. We keep inviting businesses to invest into our community because of all of the quality that we have to add here. That's why we have a Google that was willing to relocate into this area. That's why you see the expansion of cold storage outside of, in the southern part of our community. Because of everything that Fort Wayne has to offer, we're not a bedroom community. We are the primary community that's inviting other people to come to us and be a part of our great success. And because of that, even with the small decrease that we saw in our income this year, we will continue to invite and do the work that we need to do to continue to grow as an all-American city and soon be able to outdo all of the other things that we've done so far.
We talked about the similarities and what seem to be the goals of this budget between this budget and what we've seen from Mayor Henry in the past. How do you feel that you've left your mark on this year's budget?
You know, I'm a little jealous of Mayor Henry because his budgets were always going up. And this is the first time in a very long time that the city has seen a small decrease in the budget. But I can say that we're continuing to do the things that we need to do, and that is invest into our community. Quality of life, public safety, making sure that Fort Wayne is safe, family-friendly, and fun are the things that we're going to continue to eye as our goals, and we'll continue to use the funds that we receive to do that and continue to work on public and private partnerships so that we can continue to grow our city.
And do you see the budget going back up anytime soon?
You know, it's all going to depend on what happens downstate with our taxing rates.
Do you have any plans for revenue growth for Fort Wayne in the future?
Say that one more
Do you have
time.
any plan for revenue growth for Fort Wayne in the coming years?
You know, revenue growth is different depending on how you look at it. For us, when we invite businesses into our community, we're increasing our local income tax by increasing our pool, right, of people investing. It's one of the reasons that I felt like investment in Southeast Fort Wayne was so important. We have to be able to grow our tax base, and that's by bringing in people. Bringing in affordable housing, bringing in market rate housing, and bringing in businesses will absolutely increase our revenue.
And then I do have a question too. So you guys are wanting to have property taxes go down and assessed values of homes go up. What do you think that is going to do?
You know, that is still the wild card. And it depends on what happens downstate with property taxes. But one thing that I would like the public to know is that our property taxes right now go toward all the things that we utilize at local government. Public safety is all funded through those property taxes. So while we absolutely want to find a way to relieve the burden of higher property tax on our residents, especially our seniors, we also have to realize the adverse impact that that could have on other things that we hold near and dear to our heart when we talk about quality of life, safety. So we need a fair balance at addressing how we provide tax relief and how that looks for property taxes.